everyone, it's me again. You know, the guy who's been posting a lot of videos, and no matter how many views I get, I still keep posting them. Anyway, I saw a video from a YouTube channel called Multiversal Wisdom, where it was about Batman reacting to the zombie apocalypse in Marvel Zombies, and also explaining why it was so stupid. Hearing his logic, I can totally understand. I mean, a virus that small shouldn't spread on a planet-wide scale. But anyway, I thought I'd do my own reaction video about another particular zombie apocalypse that occurred in an iconic comic book series. No, I am not talking about Deceased. I'm actually talking about something far worse than that. I am going to talk about the metal virus from the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic book series. What, you think I was going to talk about something else? Anyway, it's no mystery what the metal virus was and the story behind it. The metal virus was basically a catastrophe on a massive scale. A twisted, evil, horrifying creation concocted by Dr. Eggman in yet another cockamamie scheme for him to take over the world. He believed that he could do it through a metallic zombie army. Now, regular zombies are worse enough, but metal zombies? I get shivers just thinking about it. Alright, so anyway, sorry, had to wipe up a bit of spit on the screen. The story started when, after Dr. Eggman lost his memory and believed himself to be a kind-hearted toy maker named Mr. Tinker, Sonic made the decision to leave him in Windmill Village, believing it could give this new Eggman a second chance to be a better person. What our fast, fearless hero did not realize is the consequences that occurred from that one good deed. Eggman was captured and his memory was restored. Afterward, well, you know what happened next. The metal virus pretty much spread beyond the very village that catered to him and housed him. It started infecting countless innocent people, including some of Sonic's friends. Ends. Chow, Chocola, Vector, Charmy, Big, Jewel, Tangle, Vanilla, even Shadow himself, the freaking ultimate life form, ended up getting infected, despite the fact he was supposed to be resistant and immune to any disease. But the first person to get infected, but the Rough and Tumble got infected too. You know, those two skunk bullies that act like standard thugs. And their infection eventually led to Sonic getting infected too, though he tried to run the virus off to absolutely no avail. Well, but it did keep him stable, at least at best. What happened next? Well, things started to go out of control for the poor doctor. The metal virus has spread so quickly that he completely lost control of the zombie of the Zombot army. So, his apprentice, Dr. Starline, sought for a way to control the situation by enlisting the services of the Deadly Six, who only made things worse. Now, to stop the virus and those vile Zeti, Sonic and Eggman had to work together to cure the world, which Tails was gonna do before the Zombots completely destroyed his lab. What happened next, you Sonic and Eggman sent allies out to get at the Chaos Emeralds, which are currently the key to saving the world, though a lot of their friends got infected. Despite their efforts. Thankfully, all Chaos Emeralds were secured, and they used the Warp Topaz, an interdimensional rock stone capable of making cool portals, and used it to defeat the Zeti and the monsters and the metallic monstrosities by wiping out the metal virus and throwing it all into the sun. Talk about another one of although Sonic himself got cured as well, he was sent flying into Blaze's world. Talk about a massive blowback. Don't worry, he's alive and he got back to his world, but, well, it was all, but only after a world, he stopped a world-ending crisis that his nemesis Dr. Eggman created. Now let's take a look at why the thing, every bit of it got worse to begin with. First of all, let's address the root of the problem. Sonic left Eggman in Windmill Village because with his memory gone, he believed Eggman wouldn't be a threat anymore. That people could finally live in peace and harmony without ever having to get out the fear of getting stomped on by giant metal robots. But he did not account for the fact that Starline, who was Eggman's biggest fan, would retrieve and restore him. I'm not saying I blame Sonic for the whole thing, but that one act of impulse and naive hope was pretty much an impulsive decision, and that spiraled into an out-of-control crisis. If he wanted to make sure Eggman was still and was neutralized permanently, he could have had his friends keep an eye on him through surveillance technology and watchkeeper that would monitor Eggman's progress and prevent any and all potential intrusions on that progress that would also lead to Eggman's and having his memories restored. Again, not blaming Sonic, but he could have done so much better. The second part, I would have never allowed that such stupidity to occur on my watch if I had to watch Eggman. Anyway, the second issue was the metal virus getting out of control. Eggman and was so confident and proud in his creation that he didn't even think to have a contingency plan put in place should the metal virus begin to go beyond. What's the word? And to spread too much for him to control. Too many zombots, too much to control. Is just a recipe for disaster. One that Eggman did not even bother to fix when the zombots stopped listening to him. If Eggman really was going to create some kind of chemical cocktail that would turn half a planet into metallic minions with no free will or soul, he could have at least prepared for he could have at least made preparations should his plans should this plan, like all of his other plans, go awry even without Sonic's interference. But he didn't. That's what ego and arrogance get you. When you mix it with intelligence. There was also There was also what happened at Restoration in HQ, or at least the Resistance headquarters that Sonic's friends used during the war to take back the world. They used the HQ as sort of a shelter to house those that weren't infected with the metal virus. However, they failed to account that at least one infected victim snuck his way in here. That was a massive level of ignorance, so devastatingly catastrophic. I cannot even word how horrible was to witness that. Jamero, the Cream's mechanical caretaker, was monitoring all people to make all civilians to make sure they weren't infected, and yet he a hyper-intelligent robot with biocular senses, failed to account for at least one single victim who turned half of everyone in the HQ into zombots. I know I am rambling, but I'm just trying to process my head around this. What happened in that situation is a complete dereliction of all basic quarantine protocols. You never, ever, ever let an infected victim into a quarantine shelter, no matter how badly they want to be in it. Now, if they're infected, of course, if they're infected, you put them in a quarantine cell to prevent contamination. Still with me? Good, because this is probably getting more more difficult to wrap my head around with every sound. And then there's Shadow. He allowed his own stubbornness to get us to be his downfall, choosing to stay behind rather than listen to Sonic's warning to run was a stupid decision, but it also proved that even the ultimate life form could be susceptible to a disease that was never organic to begin with. And then the piece even someone as immortal as Shadow could have realized he was not capable of resisting the metal virus that simply. Then the piece de resistance was what happened after the metal virus was cured. Yes, everyone was saved. Yes, the metal virus was destroyed. But let's think about how this affected everyone. This is technically they were deeply traumatized from their experiences as zombots and the people that they unwillingly hurt. They acted under the influence of a diabolical creation that Eggman made, but also failed to keep under his thumb. And it was this is something that people are going to have to live with for the rest of their lives, even after the danger has passed. And while Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and all their friends began the rebuilding efforts again, they still could never forget that horrible day when they nearly lost everything. Not just because pretty much a disaster that started all because Sonic made a very stupid but rather understandably hopeful decision. By choosing to think that Dr. Eggman wouldn't be a threat anymore, he unintentionally let the world vulnerable to something worse than a mechanical monstrosity, worse than a giant space station, worse than a time-altering demon, and even worse than one of Eggman's own robots going rogue and taking over his empire. He left the world, without realizing it, left the world vulnerable to complete, utter, catastrophic devastation. Devastation that, even though, as I said, the metal virus is cured, is still going to remain in the memories of everyone that had to go through that horror. Now, yes, while Eggman might still have realized that the metal virus was not a good idea, and pretty much doomed from the start, and is undoubtedly never going to use that again. That didn't stop him from still continuing his plans to conquer the world. But it's also going to teach him not to create something that makes him look like a god, when in actuality it just makes him look it just makes him a guy and the kind of and that makes mistakes when trying to perform evil. Now, I don't know what's next to come for the Sonic comics, but I do know that next year there's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Hey, thank you guys for listening and watching. Be sure to comment, like, and or subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Also, if there's one thing this comic taught me, it's that it's that no good deed goes unpunished, and you always have to be prepared for in case a plan goes completely wrong, even if that plan involved taking over the world.